Hi, I'm Michelle and welcome back to Somewhere in Bookland. This is part 2 of my December book haul, and as I said in part 1, this part is going to be all the books/bookish things that I received for Christmas. And there's a lot. If you would like to see all the stuff I bought in December, then I will leave a link down below to part 1 of this December haul, and that is all the books/bookish things that I bought in December. Now, there is a huge book outlet purchase in here also that I received, kind of. I'll explain that when I haul the book outlet purchase, but it's big. And when I say big, I mean big. So first I'm going to go over all the other books/bookish things I received before getting into the book outlet haul, since that will take up the majority of this video. So the first thing I got for Christmas was the Penguin mini set of John Green's books, which are just adorable. So this set includes The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, An Abundance of Catherines, and Looking for Alaska. And they're just super cute. It's the full book. And I thought that you read it like this, but you don't. You read it like this, and then you flip it open, and it's a full page. You're just like, do. And I thought they were pretty cool. The next book I got for Christmas was Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book is about this 18-year-old Sawyer whose estranged grandma shows up and offers her a 6-figure contract if she will participate in the debutante season. Now, Sawyer isn't really into the girly stuff, and she doesn't necessarily want to be a part of the debutante season, but she has an ulterior motive. She thinks if she participates in the debutante season, she might just find out who her dad is. She doesn't count on making friends with all the girls, and they all have secrets of their own to hide, and they don't necessarily want her nosing about in their business. I think this book sounds like it's going to be pretty. I just want to read about like debutante balls. Every time I think of a debutante ball, I think of one of two things. I think of the Gilmore Girls episode where she's debuts, and then I think of She's the Man, and I love Gilmore Girls and She's the Man, so I'm hoping I love this as well. And the end papers are like bright pink, and how pretty would this book have looked if they had that bright pink as the like stained edges? It would have looked gorgeous. And part of me wants to start like staining edges of my own books, and if I do, then this one's gonna be bright pink because it would look great. Now, the next two things I got for Christmas aren't books, but they are definitely bookish related. And the first thing is from my mom, and she has this friend at work that does calligraphy, and so she got her to do a quote for me, and then she framed it, and this is the frame and this is the quote. It says, "All the secrets of the world are contained in books. Read at your own risk." And it's a quote by Lemony Snicket. And I think it's really pretty, and I cannot wait to display it in my library. Now, the next bookish thing I got for Christmas was from my stepdad, and he gave me this travel mug, coffee mug, that is just surrounded with books. A whole bunch of different books. There's Romeo and Juliet. There's a Mom with a View. That's what it looks like. There's Great Expectations, Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein. There's just books all around it, and it's really cute. I like it, and I'm excited about this. It had the brand on it, but I took that label off, and now I have no idea. Oh, Kate Spade. It's a Kate Spade cup. And I love it. It's so pretty. I opened it and I'm like, oh, I like it. I mean, because just between you and me, my stepdad's usually not the best at picking out gifts. He usually gives you something and you're like, oh, thank you. But this one was I really like it. And now it's time to get to the biggest part of this video, which is the book outlet unboxing. There are 25 books in this unboxing. But let me explain. For Christmas, my wife gave me $100. And she told me this $100 is to buy books. And that's all you are allowed to buy with it is books. Because she loves buying me books because she knows I love books. But she doesn't like picking out the books because I have a lot of books. So she'll usually, sometimes like just randomly, she'll be like, oh, buy yourself a book. And then I'll buy a book and then it'll come. And yes, she likes buying me books. I like buying her video games. That's how we work. So she gave me $100 and she's like, this is to buy whatever books you want. And originally we were going to go to Barnes & Noble and I was going to pick up a couple books from there. Like, we had it planned. We were gonna go like a couple days or a day after she gave me the money. And then I remembered that Book Outlet was having a Boxing Day sale. And I was like, you know, why am I gonna go to Barnes & Noble and use the $100 to buy 4 to 5 books? Maybe a little more depending on if I get the cheaper books, like the $10 books or whatever, when I could use that money on Book Outlet and get like maybe, in my mind, I was thinking like 10 books. So I went onto the website to see what the Boxing Day sale was, and it said that if you spend $100, you get $40 off. And I was like, I have $100 to spend. I ended up spending the $100 and getting the $40 off, which meant that I also got free shipping because it was over the $35 like free shipping thing. So I ended up buying 25 books and my total ended up coming out to $96.65, and that was with my $40 off. So I got $130-ish, $140 almost dollars worth, $136 worth of books for $96, which was under my $100 budget, so I felt immensely proud of myself. When my wife originally gave me this money, I think she was thinking I was gonna get maybe 9 to 10 books if I could get like deals. I think she severely underestimated that and was not expecting 25 books to show up at our doorstep, but it did. And that means like I got each book for like $4, less than $4, and this package, it's like 25 pounds. It's heavy. So, yeah. I'm just going to get into it, go over them briefly, and some of them, I think only 3 of these books I've read and just wanted a copy of, and the rest I have not read at all. So we'll see how this turns out. Look at that. A long list of books. So the first book in this Book Outlet unboxing is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. And I recently read Christina Lauren's books, some of them, for the first time last year. And the first book I started with was Autobiography, and I just fell in love with that book. And I think I've read about 2 others since then, and I just want to read more of Christina Lauren's books. And so I saw this one there, and I knew I had to pick it up because I didn't have it yet, nor have I read it yet. This one follows this girl, Macy, and it alternates between the past and the present. And it follows her running back into Elliot, who was the first love of her life, and how running back into him kind of changes her world. I don't know if it's for the better or not. I'm assuming it's for the better because Christina Lauren tends to write like romance books, and I hope it's for the better. Now, the next book in this haul is Roar by Cora Carmack. And this book follows Aurora, a to-be queen, who needs magic to protect her people, and her family has magic, but she has yet to show the gift. She needs to protect the secret. And so in order to do so, she's arranged to marry a stormling. I guess a stormling is like if you have the magic. So she's arranged to marry a stormling prince from another country, which will help protect her secret and give the kingdom power, the royals power to protect the kingdom. But then she starts finding out secrets about him, and she goes undercover to try and uncover some things, and she finds out that there's storm hunters who are selling storm magic on the black market, and I just think this book's gonna be amazing. The next book I got is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, and this book follows Elin, and from what I heard, she's fighting in a war, and her brother's killed, or so she thinks, because next thing she knows, she sees him fighting with the enemies, but he's supposed to be dead. I'm pretty sure she saw him die, but now he's back alive. So I don't know if this is zombies or what exactly this is, but I think it sounds very good. The next book in this haul is The Valiant by Leslie Livingston, and this is like a female gladiator book, and that's all I really know about this one, but I'm all for female gladiators. The next book in this haul is Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I've heard so many good things about this book. It follows Vivian, who is like fed up with stuff at her school, and she starts like a feminist zine, and I've heard that this book is just really good. Also, this is another book with bright pink end pages that would look really good with pink sprayed edges, and I just think every book should have pink not pink. I think every book should have sprayed edges, and I agree with that. I think it should happen, and this one should have bright pink sprayed edges. The next book I got is A Girl Like That by Tanaz Bathina. And I've heard so many good things about this book. This book follows 17-year-old Zarin, who is a very outspoken person, and I guess she's the kind of person that parents warn you to stay away from. Like, don't get involved with a girl like that. And she ends up dead with a fellow student, I believe, and once she dies, people are starting to look into her, and they realize that she's more than what they thought she was, and I'm just heard so many good things about this book, and so I had to pick it up. The next book I got is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. This follows this girl Natalie who's spending summer in her hometown, and she starts seeing things off, like the colors of doors change or her hometown disappears completely, and she starts seeing this apparition that she calls grandmother, and this apparition tells her that she only has 3 months to save him. But who's him? Next thing you know, she meets this guy, and I'm assuming that's him, and she has to do everything to save him. So I think this cover is beautiful, and I picked it up. The next book I picked up is The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye. I have not read the first one, The Crown's Game, but I do own it, and they have this one, so I got this one. And The Crown's Game is about like these two, I don't know if they're magicians necessarily or like sorcerers, but these two people with magic that are competing, and only one of them can win. I'm assuming this is the second book, so either they're both still alive or one of them's still alive. I'm not sure because I haven't read the first book, but I have the first book, so I was like, oh look, I have the first book, I should get the second book, because I do that a lot. The next book I picked up is First and Then by Emma Mills. I have not read any of Emma Mills's books yet. I still have This Adventure Ends, which I was meaning to read and never got to, but I just love how beautiful her covers are. Not just these covers, but like those covers underneath the naked covers are just beautiful. And this book just follows this girl Devin who has a crush on her best friend, and she's ignoring everything else, and then all of a sudden her cousin and some jock come into her life. So this seems interesting because I heard Emma Mills books are very good, and I don't know why I haven't picked them up yet. I love contemporary books and I think these books are gorgeous, but the reason I mainly picked this up is because these books are gorgeous and I have a problem. The next book I picked up is a novella bind-up that I haven't read any other books in the series, but I have them. I just like having series to read so that when I want to read I can just binge through it all. Yeah, But anyways, that is Queens of Finbren by Kendar Blake, and that includes The Young Queens and The Oracle Queen. And like I said, this is just a bind up of the 2 novellas, and I own 3 Dark Crowns and 1 Dark Throne. So I was like, yeah, I should get this too. I should really stop thinking, yeah, I should get this too, but I don't know how. The next book I picked up was Salt to the Sea by Ruta Zepetes. This is a historical fiction, and it follows a crash, like a not well-known shipwreck that was 6 times deadlier than the Titanic. But like I said, not many people know about it. But I've heard so many good things about this book. Actually, I've heard so many good things about Ruta Zepetes in general, and so I was just like, yeah, I'll pick this up. I'll get to it eventually. There's so many books I have that I'll just get to eventually, but I'll get to it eventually. The next book I picked up was Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonnet. And this book follows 2 twins who were never destined to take the throne of Eden. Their older brother was supposed to take the throne, but then their older brother is killed, and now nobody knows what the next line of succession should be. Now the twins have to go against each other in these trials to see who will be the next ruler, either king or queen of Eden. This particular book also contains like a novella from the story, so I don't know. It seems cool. Like, I get the feeling, like, it says Dividing Eden. I feel like one of them's bad and one of them's good, but the back makes it sound like they get along, so I don't know if one of them's bad and one of them's good. But it seems like one of them's evil and one of them's light and good. The next book I got is This Song Will Save Your Life by Leela Souse. This book follows this girl, Elise, who is not cool and not having a great time in high school. And then she falls into this underground club scene and becomes like a DJ, and I just think that's cool. I like books that involve music and dancing, because I love movies that involve dancing, which I can't do. I like watching other people dance. The next book I picked up is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This book follows this girl, Eden, and it follows her through freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. It's broken up into 4 parts, and she ends up getting raped by her brother's best friend, and she shoves that down dark and deep as it could go. And she doesn't want to deal with it, and if I'm correct, I believe through the 4 years it shows her dealing with that and just dealing with everything else in her life. And I feel like it's going to be a tearjerker and like a hard read, but I got it and I'm excited to read it. The next book I got is the first book in this unboxing that I have actually already read, and that is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. And I enjoyed this book. You know, I've heard a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy this book, but they felt a little let down by it, but I personally enjoyed it. I listened to it on audiobook, so that was interesting, because if you don't know, this book follows a group of people who aren't the chosen ones. Like, this is a chosen one story, but it doesn't follow the chosen ones. It follows other people. And there's chapter headers before each chapter that kind of give you an update of like what the chosen one group is doing. So like, this is the chapter. This part is the little update about what the chosen one group's doing, and then it goes into the chapter for this, the unchosen people. And I just found it interesting to think about the other side of things. It's actually like Puffs the Musical is kind of like this. It follows the Harry Potter story through the 7 years, but it follows the Hufflepuffs who aren't the chosen ones. And yeah, I enjoyed it, and I just wanted a copy, and I saw it, so I bought it. The next book I picked up was also a book with another beautiful cover, and that is An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. I just love this cover. I love like the white on white, ivory on ivory type of thing. Now, this book follows magicians in New York City, and there's something that happens every about 20 years or so called the turning, where each house has to pick a champion to compete in a series of duels, and I believe the winner wins like a lot of power for their house. And this time the turning has come early after only 13 years, and it just follows that. And I've heard it's a really good book from like different fantasy booktubers that I follow, and it was cheap, so I picked it up. This next book also has a gorgeous cover, and that is Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. And this follows this group of women who like aren't supposed to fall in love, because if they do, then their loved ones vanish. But then a strange boy Fell appears in their midst, and some of the women take it as a sign that good things are going to happen, and others take it as a sign of warning of bad things to come. And this boy Fell himself doesn't even know who he is, and Fell is the only part of his name that he can remember. And so the main character of this book, I think, helps him figure out who he is. And yeah, I don't know why I thought this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I don't think it is. My stack's about to fall over. The next book I picked up was Fox by Nadine Brandeis. I don't know why originally I thought this was a Phantom of the Opera retelling, but I was getting it mixed up with Roseblood. This is not a Phantom of the Opera retelling. This is about this guy, Thomas Fox, who is turning into stone due to this thing called the Stone Plague. And the only way to save himself is to join his father's attempt to assassinate the King of England. So yeah. The next book I got out of Book Outlet is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I haven't read Scythe. I do own Scythe. I think a lot of people know what Scythe is about, but for those who don't, Scythe is about this world where people can't die, and there's these Scythes who are the people who go and kill them. Like, they can't die naturally. They can only die if a Scythe kills them. That's the only way somebody could die. And I heard it's really good, and I own the first one. I've been meaning to pick it up, haven't picked it up, saw this for cheap and picked it up. The next book is another book that I have already read, and that is Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. I love Jen Bennett's writing so far, what I've read this and Alex Approximately. I also have her first book, but I haven't read it yet, and I can't even think what the name of it is right now. The Anatomical Shape of a Heart. I have that. I still have yet to read it, but I do love her writing, and she has a book coming out this year that I'm excited for. But this one in particular, it follows this girl and this guy who used to be friends, and now they are not. But they get stuck together on a camping trip, and I think we know what happens. But I really enjoyed this book, and I have a review for it on GOODREADS, and I'll leave the link down below. And yes, it's just such a good book. The next book I picked up was Stealing Snow by Daniel Page. This is a YA retelling of the Snow Queen, and it follows this girl, Snow, who spent her life locked up in like a psychiatric ward. And it doesn't say if she could control snow, but I feel like she should be able to because it's the Snow Queen. But I have seen this book by Daniel Page. I've heard this one's supposed to be really good. I know she also wrote the Dorothy Must Die ones, but I had never really felt compelled to read those ones. But when I saw that she had put this one out, I had wanted to read it, and I never got around to picking it up, and now I have. I'm like making a Jenga pile over here with my books. The next book I picked up was Because You Love to Hate Me by a lot of different authors, and it has forwards by booktubers. It's like tells of different villains, and I had been wanting to pick this one up because of the whole booktuber aspect when it had first come out, and I had never got around to it, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then I saw it on there and I was like, I could pick this up for really cheap. I'm gonna pick it up now. And so I did. Now, the next book I picked up is The Empress by S.J. Kincaid. This is the second book to the Diabolic series. I have the Diabolic. I have not read it. I don't know what it's about. And I can't even tell you what this one's about because it's the second book. But yeah. The next book I picked up is Sight Witch by Susan Dennard. I believe this is like number 2.5. Apparently this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and it has a special preview of Blood Witch, but I don't know what else makes it exclusive besides that. Blood Witch is supposed to come out this year. So the first book in the series is Truth Witch and the second is Wind Witch, both of which I have, and so I wanted to get this one. Truth Witch, there's like different, I guess in the series there's different powers, and so Truth Witch, they have the power, I'm assuming, of truth. Wind Witch has the power of wind. This one I'm assuming has the power, something to do with sight, and then Blood Witch I'm assuming has something to do with blood. I haven't read any of them, but I own the first two in hardcover, and so I figured I should get this one in hardcover too. I'm surprised that stack hasn't fallen yet. Now, the last book in this haul is a book I have definitely already read. It is a children's book. It is my favorite children's book, and it has a sticker from Walmart on it, and so I'm gonna have to work to get that off. But it is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs by Judy Barrett, and growing up, this was my favorite book. I'm very kind of upset that it has this permanent sticker that says the series behind the major motion picture, because I hate when they have permanent stickers. But this was my favorite book growing up. I've had multiple copies of this book and somehow they all just disappear. So in a couple years I will probably have to rebuy this again because it will probably have disappeared again. I had this book in elementary school. I think I had gotten it from like a yard sale or something, and so I had a copy of this, and then we had to read it in class in, you know, that big, like, yep, they all just fell. You know that big bind up like you get in elementary school of like a whole bunch of little stories? We had to read it in there, and I was like, oh, I love this book, and I brought in my copy. And I had another one that, I don't know what happened to that copy throughout the years, and I think I got another one in high school? Around high school. Had I already graduated from high school? I don't know. When the movie came out, my mom bought me a copy of the movie and another copy of this book, and I don't know what happened to that book. And then now there's this one, and I didn't know there was more than one book. Fake fan. Anyways, I may as well just drop it because all the rest of the books just fell. And that's it. Those are all the books I received as gifts in the month of December, and I'm so tired now. Click the thumbs up if you like this video. Click subscribe if you want to see more of this face in your feed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Yeah, I'm doing my thumbnail with an empty box. I'm not gonna be holding that heavy box up. No way. Oh, did you hear my stomach? It went.